Hi and welcome everyone. I'm Max and I'm still subbing in for Marie here at this week's Rebel Report. Welcome to you, Johan.
Welcome, Max.
Thank you. Johan, let's not waste too much time small talk. Let's get down to talk about football. A lot of interesting games this past weekend. The first one, let's talk about the Demons playing against the Tigers. They lost 21-62.
Right.
The Demons look very hurt right now.
Yeah, I thought the game might have been a little bit closer. Nothing against the Tigers. I just figured that there was a bigger playoff opportunity for the Demons, that they would have played a little bit harder or played a little bit better than expected. And I guess they had that summer hangover, or, had some blues issues, and that was it. And they kind of just had to go from there. And the Tigers were all over them. So.
Yeah, and an interesting week for the Tigers. We're going to get back to the other game they played this week against the Razorbacks, but it's two different teams in those two games.
Sure.
But before we get to that game, let's continue down the line here. Towers playing against the Razorbacks, the other game on Saturday. That was an interesting game. The score was 40 to the Towers, 29 to the Razorbacks.
Right.
But more interesting, John Rock has apparently left Denmark.
Yeah, they posted that. The Razorbacks posted that late in the week, which was probably a smart move for them, just to keep it kind of on the hush-hush. But yeah, he just up and left and went to Germany from what they were posted.
Yeah.
That he kind of went off on his own. So that kind of put them in a little bit of a turmoil. They brought out Kenny Sewell.
Yeah, let's not keep it hush-hush. I mean, your quarterback leaves not many weeks until the playoff. That's a very big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, they might have expected him to play better than he did, but he was still the starting quarterback.
Right. Yeah.
That has to be a big deal.
Yeah, there must have been some issues going on up there that people aren't really talking about, and they just kind of either parted their ways, obviously, and went into their own whatever. So that's it.
Yeah, and from what we heard, he might have not have been too focused on football and maybe focused on something else.
Sure.
And of course, the Razorbacks can't really use that, but it leaves them in a bad situation now.
Right. Yeah, it does. When they lose a quarterback when they brought one in for that reason, now they're put in a situation that Kenny Sewell, who's a successful quarterback for them, is taking kind of over the helm, and he's also their coach. So he's kind of double dutying in that department, but he knows the offense, so that's not really going to be a big deal for him. It's just more his age and how he's going to be able to handle all the hits he takes. Plus, he probably hasn't trained for it very much, so now he's kind of stuck in that position.
Yeah, it's been some years since he's played regularly.
Yeah.
We both saw the game. I saw it on tape, and you saw it live.
Yeah.
He looked okay in some parts of the game, but he also struggled in some parts.
Sure.
Got hit a lot.
Yeah, that's the Towers' defense. They were getting after him, so that kind of put a little pressure on him. But they also are doing different things. They have Linneman in there, and they have Desmond Anderson playing in the H-back with the people call it Wildcat system. So they're trying to do some different stuff to be creative to generate points and throw people off their heels a little bit. And I think they had some success, and as they keep doing it, they're going to get better at it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and we're going to see how this, how they're going to cope with this come playoff.
Sure.
Because they won. Let's just continue talking about the Razorbacks. They won the game against the Tigers, the game that was played yesterday on Wednesday. They won 37-19. It was very close at half.
Sure.
But they pulled it out at the end.
Yeah, the Tigers were winning at half-time. You really love, what you see. You think that they're going to come in and pull off a win against them and put the Razorbacks on their heels. But fourth quarter, things started turning around and they started getting the deep balls and making those connections, and a couple of key injuries to the Tigers, and there you have the score.
Okay, let's continue. Wait, we're talking about the Gold Diggers against the Rebels until the end. Let's talk a little bit about the Stallions playing against the 89ers.
Sure.
Last week we talked about that the Stallions might have had a chance here, but they lost 6-32, and they seem very secure to drop directly down to the first division.
Yeah, they're going to have some issues. I mean, they think their last game was against the Towers, and they're going to have the odds of them winning against the Towers are probably pretty low. So they're gonna probably have to fight for that relegation game and to stay up, which is kind of a shame. So hopefully they can keep their heads up and be focused on it, so they can get used to the league and keep going from there. On a side note, the 89ers, they did a good job. They saved themselves from that, and they're trying to pull into something that's a decent back into the season.
But it has to be tough for the Stallions if, let's assume they lose the game against the Towers, an 0-10 record. That has to be tough to look at.
Sure, it's a motivation thing, considering that the year before when they were at the lower level, they had won the whole thing. So, I'm sure that they're frustrated. They just have to try to keep it as a learning curve perspective and just try to build on it.
Yeah, and otherwise the 89ers are building on something. We had some stats from that game. Receiver Thomas Sink had 9 receptions for 91 yards. Lars Ringgaard, who's playing for the national team, had 4 tackles for loss and 2 sacks. They had some players come on strong in this game. Well, it was a game with arguably the worst team in the league, but still, they also had the tight end. He had 2 TDs. And then they had Martin Möller, who's a U19 running back. He had an average of 20 yards per carry. So not a bad day for some of those guys.
Yeah, it was good to see those guys actually picking up on some stuff. Zink is a good receiver for them, and he can do a lot of little things. He's very athletic, so the fact that he had such a good day is a good, that they're doing the right things and they're going in the right direction. They're trying to recover and build on,
they have to be thinking about next year already.
Sure.
They are out of the playoff race. And now they seem to be, they don't have to think about the relegation race either.
No. It's just building and trying to get momentum.
Well, the last game, your own game against the Gold Diggers, they won 54-20, and you said it could be a lopsided game last week, so you were right, and it was a fairly high-scoring game.
Yeah, I wish I wasn't right on that part, but
I know you wish that. What happened in that game?
I think that definitely if you look at it mechanically on the field, we just too many mental errors. We made mistakes, and a team like that, they're going to capitalize on their mistakes. And if you look at the film and you see things, they scored or moved the ball very efficiently in what we had done when we had screwed up. They picked the right guy and they went after it. And they went after the deep ball on us a little bit and caught our guys with their pants down because we're trying to take away the short game, and they didn't react very well to going to the top defensively. Offensively, I think we had a mental hangover from the summer break. I don't think we just came out the gate as hard as we could have. And the quick score that they had gotten, I think, put everybody on their heels, and that's been kind of this case. Every time they go score quick, we kind of shell up and go, oh, and then it's kind of hard for us to recover. If it turned around the other way, I think we'd probably be just fine. So.
Yeah, they had some a lot of good plays in this game, both on defense and on offense. Søren Bakbøl had a good game. Otherwise,
he had a great game.
And Jonas Bo didn't have a good game. Was that something that you thought about before the game, or was it just it happened?
Like we said last week, it was one of those things that those guys, both of those guys are really good, and they're going to get theirs. AK had a great game against Jonas, and that was, fortunate. That was great for us. That turned out to be a good thing. But on the other side, they just went after and had Soren, so he had a great day. So you shut one down, the other one makes a play, and then, and that's kind of how it happened. So that was some of the stuff.
So how come you didn't shut both of them down?
It goes back to the mental errors. We screwed up. So that was it.
Yeah.
But
a tough game, but the Rebels are not out of it yet.
No. We've got a good shot. We've got some good things. I mean, Fear had a nice kick return for a touchdown, so that's that's an ever-present thing. So I think people are going to start going, wait a minute, maybe we don't want to kick those guys. But we have a good shot at the playoffs. I mean, and since we're there, we're just trying to see if we can get in that position to maybe get them to first place still. We still got a shot for that. So.
Yeah.